Wonderful. Preparing to live
Okay, good.
stream the meeting, which is awesome. And it is still preparing. Let's see what's happening. Thank you, Divine Angels, for helping us to go live with Ease and Grace today. It's preparing the live stream. And it's still preparing. Thank you, Divine, for helping Facebook to be able to work. Let's make sure that we're live. Here we are. We are live. It's working, Tanya. Hello, dear ones. We were making sure that Facebook was working. It is Rachel Cooley here, dear ones. So happy to be here with you with the beautiful and amazing Dr. Tanya English. Our theme today for our show is Healing with the Blues from Grief to Grace with Tanya English, my dear soul sister and colleague. And Dr. Tanya English is also known, dear ones, as a soul chiropractor. Welcome, Tanya. So glad that you're here.
Hi, nice to be here with you, Rachel.
Yay, so glad that we're here.
We finally got here.
We had a little bit of tech issues, dear ones, but we are here live now. Oh my goodness, isn't that wild?
It's been kind of a wild day that way because I tried to go live this morning and my video didn't work and Facebook was out. And
oh my goodness,
so crazy.
But the technology angels are with us. Let me just mute out that. Okay. All right, dear ones, I'm also going to make sure that we're streaming into our Angel Sisterhood group for Divinely Thriving Women, which we will do also. But I want to start out with introducing Tanya, and she is an amazing soul chiropractor. And we are so thrilled to have her live with us today. And Tanya is joining us today from Iowa, right, Tanya?
Yeah. Coralville.
From Coralville, Iowa. Awesome. So, dear ones, I'm going to share with you about Dr. Tanya English. And here with the Divine Impact Show, we are always with the theme of this is a place where spiritual women, healers, and light workers catalyze miraculous blessings for themselves and others with the angels and the divine. It's so beautiful. So, dear ones, let's hear about Tanya. Dr. Tanya English helps women. She's amazing at helping women, and she helps women who feel stuck, insignificant, unheard, and unseen to go from grief to grace and to find treasure in tragedy. Tanya's specialty is working with women who have suffered the loss of a baby or a pregnancy, and I have a big heart blessing for that and life experience as well there, Tanya. It's so powerful. And Dr. English has been working for over 35 years in healing, first as a massage therapist, and then as a chiropractor and an energy healer. And she has become the soul chiropractor. And she's also an accomplished blues singer, which is so amazing. We'll have to have you sing a little blues for us today, Tanya. And after experiencing the stillbirth of her first child in 1994, Tanya had a profound healing experience through blues music. And we would love to hear that story as well. Welcome, Tanya.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rachel. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. So glad that you're here. So, Tanya, we would love to hear about your story. Like, would you like to, share with us your story in your journey?
I'll tell you what happened. So I have been doing massage therapy for several years. And after finishing my undergraduate degree in theater, I took kind of a left turn and went into massage therapy. And that led me to chiropractic. And as I was coming into chiropractic, I moved from the East Coast, from the beach in New Jersey to Iowa. Everybody asked me, why'd you do that? I'm like, well, that's where chiropractic was founded in Davenport, Iowa. That's where it started. So if you look on a map of the Mississippi, there's a place where the Mississippi flows east to west. And that's what we call the subluxation of the Mississippi. That's where chiropractic started in Davenport, Iowa.
Incredible.
So I came out here and I thought, well, things are really going to change for me because I'm doing this. And they really did. I met my husband about 9 months after I got here, which was really beautiful. And we decided to get married. And we were expecting our first child, and things kind of took a turn during labor, and he was stillborn. And so I had to ask myself, do you really believe that everything happens to the highest good, or are you just saying that? Because this isn't very good.
No.
And what I thought, okay, if I don't believe that, I went down that road in my mind about 10 minutes and went, "Ooh, I don't want to do that." And then I said, "No, I'm going to believe. I'm making a decision to believe that everything happens to the highest good. So show me the good. Show it to me." So I asked Source, just put me where I need to be for healing. I don't care where it is. And my husband was a blues bassist at the time. And we went to the Mississippi Valley Blues Fest, which is right there on the banks of the Mississippi. And the Blind Boys of Alabama were playing in the tent stage, and I really wanted to see them. And he wanted to see whoever was on main stage. So we kind of split up. And I had this amazing healing experience with the Blind Boys of Alabama. And they're a gospel group, but it comes from blues. So it's all good. And I
Yes.
had this feeling of just waves and waves and waves of love flowing through me. And I came out of there different than when I went in.
Wow.
And in fact, we met between the stages, and my husband looked at me and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Oh, yes, I am really okay. I'm good." And it wasn't that I wasn't ever sad again about what happened, but I could feel the amount of love was so huge. I can't really tell you how big it is. But several years later, back in 2017, that was in 94. In 2017, I went on a retreat in Sedona with my coach, Daniel Hanneman. And I was laying on the ground between Bell Rock and Courthouse Rock. And what happened to me was I heard a little voice that said, "Now, do you get it?" And I said, "Yes, I get it. The rock never moves. The rock gets rained on. The rock is in the dark of night. The rock gets windblown. The rock never moves." And that's the love that's there for us. It never goes away. It never changes. It's always there, unconditionally there. And when I got that first time, well, it wasn't like the first time, but it was after stillbirth. It was the first time after stillbirth that I had had that experience. And I just thought, if I could just share this love with people and how much there is, and it's all in here, that's what we need to do. That's what I need to do. So I kept asking Source, show me the easy way to do healing, because forceful adjusting was not for me.
I hear
I
you.
didn't feel like that was the way. I don't It's fine for people to get it. But it just wasn't the way for me to deliver what I do. So I asked for, I want to heal more like how Jesus healed. Like, he didn't do a lot of technique, as I recall. So I had read when I was about 12, all these things you can do and greater than these if you but believe and do it in my name. And I was like, great, I can do whatever I want. I could do whatever my gift is. My
Yes.
gift is healing. And so whenever I read anything that Jesus wrote, I think he's talking to me. So I just take it on as part of who I am. And so as time went on, I was also understanding that if I wanted to find healing for this situation, that I was going to seek it out, because seek and you'll find. So
Yes.
what are you seeking out of the tragedy that happens? Are you seeking? I had to ask myself, what are you seeking? Are you seeking more ways to make this a gift? Or are you seeking more ways to make yourself punished? Are you seeking more ways to find joy? Are you seeking ways to make yourself feel bad? So we were not into blaming and shaming about this. Many people wanted us to, because people like to go there.
Yes.
That's not the way we live. No blame, no shame. And it's difficult sometimes to do that, because sometimes people say and do things that are not very good, as you would experience them in judging. But that kind of judging takes a lot of energy. That's bad, that's good, that's bad,
Yes.
that's good. And one of my favorite scripture references is James 1:2. Count it all joy. Just say it's all joy. And then you find the joy that's in there. So that's the action part. It says, knock and the door will be open to you, seek and you'll find. Those are two action verbs. You
They
got to
are.
do the work. You have to allow yourself to move forward and seek those things and knock on those doors and let that information come in. because you can complain all you want, but that's not going to change anything. Action makes the difference.
It does. Action
That's my
makes a
story. I'm
difference.
sticking to it.
That's your story. You're sticking to it. It's incredible. So really, so your healing journey and odyssey is really incredible. And then who do you specialize in working with and bringing the support? It sounds like from what I read in your bio, it's for women in particular.
Yeah, basically for women, but I do work with men too.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with working with men. That's not a
No, of course
problem.
not.
I just when I'm making a safe space, it's for anybody who needs to have that safe space. So I have a Facebook group when it's working. I have a Facebook
Right.
group
I know Facebook was
called
down
Healing with
earlier
the Blues.
today. Yes.
Yeah, Healing with the Blues, and it's grief support and tools for healing. And I don't say I'm a grief support. I say I'm a grief healer, because we're not meant to pitch a tent in the valley of the shadow of death. We're meant to walk through it and go out the other end whistling a happy tune and skipping. It's a place for grief is a experience for deeper healing. It's a doorway you can go through to really heal some deep seated upset. And a lot of that has to do with the coping mechanisms that we use growing up to go along, to get along,
So true.
that maybe it's not really true that we're doing the right thing, but this is what we've had to do. So we kind of start to remove those, or I would say remove, like dissolve is a better word, because we dissolve it into unconditional love, because that's bigger than anything.
It is bigger than anything.
And then also teaching people how to practice doing certain actions that will help take them out of their judgment and that saboteur that is our judge that wants to screw us up all the time, because we're not safe. It's not really safe. It's just not changing.
Right.
So we have those things. And then there's ancestral stuff that we carry around too.
Good point.
Like so many women that I've worked with, we've cleared the belief that's running unconsciously, subconsciously. Women should be seen and not heard. Children should be seen and not heard. Women have no power. We're clearing those things because it's not true. We're all
No,
souls. We're all children of source energy. We're all
we
children of
are.
the Most High. So we're all
Absolutely.
princesses and princes
And queens and
and
kings.
queens. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So then, Tanya, how do you describe the ways? I feel like you already have, but I love because the show here is the Divine Impact Show, and how we uniquely make our divine impact. So,
Oh,
how do you
yeah.
feel you would share that about yourself? How do you make
So,
that
well,
unique divine impact?
the way that I have been bringing people into my work since 2014, I didn't start doing online healing because of the pandemic. I've been doing it for 10 years.
Wonderful.
And the way that I do that is through an intuitive energy scan. So I scan the person's chakra system, that banner right there, that
Yes.
lays along the spine. That's my chiropractic part, right? And I also have my table right here, you can see. So
Yes.
I'm working on people on my chiropractic table, but what I'm doing is I'm intuitively using my intuition to bring in visual things. That's how I do it, to show me what's happening in that chakra and the next one and the next one and how they build
Yes.
on each other. So instead of doing an exam like tapping your knee with a little hammer, this is a different kind of exam where I look at you as a holistic, multifaceted being. And I do that through the chakras.
That's amazing.
And it's really fascinating because you get to see yourself, the person who's receiving it sees himself as this holistic being that has all these beautiful facets. And they're not, it's not, here's my problem and where is it? It's like, let's see where energy isn't flowing. Let's see what shows up when I say, show me their crown chakra. And I see a fountain that's not really flowing very well. Or I look at their third eye and I see the lighthouse and they're looking at the lighthouse and going, oh, that's really high up. I don't really want to go up there. Or they're standing on top of the lighthouse going, this is awesome. So
Yes,
it just
absolutely.
depends. Each person's a little bit different.
Each person,
And it's
exactly.
amazing.
It is amazing. And I really feel it's incredible how all the ways that you bring your divine impact through your soul chiropractic, through your healing, right, the quantum
Mhm.
healing as well, and through your blues music also.
Yeah, so the music part is really another like front door that I have so people can come into healing through that door. And I
Yes.
perform locally around. So I'll be performing this Friday. If you're in Coralville, come to the Coralville American Legion. I'll be
Awesome.
performing
Well,
from
I think
7
that
to
Anna's
10.
been with us here, so I think that she's here. Yeah, she
Yeah.
was
And so,
earlier. Welcome, Dylan. Dylan's watching us as well
oh,
right
awesome.
now. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be there. But one of the things that we do in that in our band, and we have great musicians in that band. Two of them are Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. Our keyboard player and our drummer. And my husband's been playing bass in Iowa in blues bands, and he also has a big rock and roll band, 7-piece that um, they're all really great players. And our guitar player, who we've known since he was a little kid, has grown up steeped in the blues. So we do a lot of old stuff. We do some real contemporary things. I've written a few. And then we also pay homage to women in blues by doing a lot of songs written or made famous by women, and the woman always comes out on top in those songs. So
Woo! Such as
yeah, so
Ella.
we call it women's empowerment blues.
I love it. Women's Empowerment Blues. Some of you sing a lot of Ella Fitzgerald.
No, I don't. She's mostly a jazz singer.
She's jazz. Oh, you're right. I had the wrong genre.
That's okay. I sing. People ask me all the time, "Do you sing this person?" And mostly they don't know the people that I
Right,
sing
right. Now
because
that
I
I think about it, right. She is jazz. Totally. Yeah.
yeah, and mostly the people I sing, like Big Mama Thornton, who wrote Hound Dog or made Hound Dog a famous song that was then taken by Elvis and
Oh,
done
wow.
something completely different with. I sing Sippy Wallace tunes. I sing Gloria Jones, who made the song Tainted Love, which you've heard from back in
Mhm.
the 80s by Soft Cell, but
Soft
we do
Cell.
her
That was a
version.
huge hit.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do her version because she was the originator.
Oh
So
my
we
gosh, that
do
is so
original
cool.
stuff. So I
I
do
love
I
it.
do a song from the 1890s as well called "You've Been a Good Old Wagon, Daddy, but You Done Broke Down." So there's
Oh
all
my
kinds of
gosh.
stuff that we do.
Can you sing just like a little snippet of something for us?
Yeah, sure. I'll sing. I do this a cappella song was really put together from from old blues, but it was written by a friend of mine, Michael Hawkeye Herman. You can look him up online. He's amazing. And it goes like this: worried blues, you don't know my mind. Worried blues, you don't know my mind. 'Cause when you see me laughing, I'm laughing to keep from crying. That's just a little bit. And then we have a theme
Powerful.
song. Healing with the blues. That's right, I'm healing with the blues. I've got nothing left to lose. That's why I'm healing with the blues. Such a pain inside. The love that's there for me, I have denied. I've never had the blues this long, this deep, this wide. That's why I'm healing with the blues. Because
Powerful,
blues is a
Tanya.
healer. Everybody that plays blues, loves blues, sings blues, knows that blues is a healer because you're experiencing something and you're saying that person has had what I've had. That's there's somebody else. I'm not alone in this. And so we get to experience things through other people's experiences and the healing is there. Like we do a couple of staple singer songs. One of them is why am I treated so bad? Why
Wow.
am I treated so bad? Everybody's had that experience,
Yeah.
feeling like they're treated badly. And, when you acknowledge your feelings, when you own your feelings, and when you honor your feelings, you can release them.
So
So now they're not stuffed into your second chakra. They're not stuffed down in there where they're going to fester and cause other problems, like name any disease.
good point. Good
You're
point.
letting it out, you're releasing it. So
Exactly.
acknowledging, owning, and honoring your feelings is the best way to keep yourself healthy and happy and joyful.
Yes. Oh, owning your
Feelings are what
feelings.
create our physiology. So on my wall, you might see a little bit of it. There's a chart right there. with an upside down apple and a right side up apple. There's 140 feelings on that chart.
Wow.
The ones on the upside down apple are all based on fear. So they're all negative feelings, like regret is the past, worry is the future, feeling loneliness. I have one right here, greedy, ruthlessness. There's all these negative feelings. Now, on the other side, there's 70 feelings that are positive based on love. So your choice, fear or love, what would you
Exactly.
rather do? So when you're going into a fear response, we talk about going from fight or flight to rest, digest, and heal. We're talking about from going from fear to love. So I do all these different techniques to help people go from fight or flight response, which is stress response, where you don't make good decisions, you don't breathe well, you don't digest food at all, your immune system shuts off, you can't be creative, you can't welcome opportunity because this is what fight or flight does. Fight or flight or freeze, stress response. When you are tapping, like with emotional freedom technique, and we do a lot of tapping on negative feelings because we want them to leave. So we're saying what we feel negative about. Oh, I'm so angry about this. This is really bothering me, and I can't believe I have to put up with this crap again. And oh, why didn't Facebook work? And Mark Zuckerberg, and all the things that you want to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And then
Process
you
it.
say, and I own my feelings. I acknowledge my feelings. I honor my feelings. So when you're doing that, you're doing exactly the right thing. You're going to have negative feelings. There's no reason why you shouldn't have them, but what you don't want to do is press them down and not express them.
Right.
So when we're doing these techniques, and that's just one of the ones that I use, I can do it here easily in this little rectangle. But when we're doing these techniques, we're telling our body, we're telling our mind, we're telling our spirit, I'm acknowledging how I feel because my feelings, every single one of those feelings on that chart, and there's more feelings that aren't on that chart, every single one has a physiology that runs your body. And when it becomes a pattern and it's a pattern you don't like, you have to release it. And you can't do that without digging in and finding out what it is. So that's how I help people. We find out
Powerful.
what those patterns are. So
Yeah.
just like if you're going to the grocery store, you're driving your car,
Yeah.
you're thinking about what you're going to get at the store. You're not thinking about driving
That's a good
because
point. We're
driving is
on
the
automatic
subconscious.
pilot.
Yep, it's a subconscious pattern. Your body's remembered it. That's a way that you can think of this. Breathing is subconscious until you decide to take it over and put your attention on it. And then it becomes a healing experience. But there are some patterns that happen with intense emotion or chronically that create negative physiology, fear physiology, fight or flight response. And that's happening under the surface too. So when we start dissolving those patterns, what most people say is, I feel so much lighter. I feel so much freer.
Yes.
And it happens, people say, oh, how long does that take? It's instant.
It's instant. So powerful. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. Tanya, all your sharing is really powerful. And then we
Thank
had
you.
Dylan earlier really enjoying your music. And he was saying also, grief to grace. Wow, powerful phrase for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And way to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Looking for the joy, looking for what's good about this. So we're sitting there watching the ultrasound, looking at our son's heart, knowing that it's not moving. We know what we're looking at. And I turn to my husband and say, are we okay? And he said, yes, we're okay. I was like, that's all I need to know.
yes.
He's not flipping out. I'm not flipping out. We're just saying, okay, this is where we're at.
Wow.
Now we need to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Powerful.
So looking for the good. So I'm seeing, here's my husband. He's going through this too. And he's being supportive and nurturing and loving and peaceful. And there's my sister-in-law helping me to push this baby out. Here's my mother and father-in-law. My parents live in the East Coast at the time, so they weren't there, but here's this family coming together to help me birth this baby that we're not going to be able to spend time with for very long.
Wow.
And it was extremely powerful experience. Now, both my parents-in-law, my mother and father-in-law, were both pastors. They're passed on now, but they were pastors. And my mother-in-law was a formidable woman. And when she would preach, you would think she was talking right to you, Rachel. She's like, oh,
Wow.
she's talking to me. She was that way. And
That's
my father-in-law had been sick for a long time. He had had a traumatic onset of disease. And so he was kind of in and out of health. But at that time, he said to her, he goes, I don't think I can do this. And she goes, you have to do this. So
wow.
they came in and baptized our son, and we committed him to God. And it was an amazing experience
Powerful.
because I kept looking for where's God in this? Where
Yes.
am I going to see this? Because as I'm lying there in the hospital bed before they overdrugged me, um,
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm in this life or death experience. I'm alive. He's not. My husband's alive. We're dealing with life and death here. I better pay attention because I'm going to need this. I'm going to need to know what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I think that way, but that's the way I was thinking. And so what can you bring out of a tragedy that you've been through? You can bring all kinds of gifts because everybody that's ever lost a child, if they've moved forward, will tell you that their child was a gift to them.
Yes.
And even more so, I think, when you don't have them around. So we say our son, Edward Oliver, he got things done quick because he was
Yeah.
with us for 9 months and his mission was complete.
Exactly.
So
Oh,
when people say
powerful.
things like, well, God needed an angel, and I said, well, God can make an angel. He doesn't need my son for that.
Right.
Or they
Totally.
say, well, you weren't really a mom. Really? Yes. People say
Oh,
terrible, awful things, and you're like, really? How
not
do you
okay.
figure that?
No.
You just have to think of, like, they don't know what to say.
They
This is
don't
a
know what to say.
weird experience. I had
Yeah.
a friend that came to our memorial for him, and she brought me a balloon that said, "It's a boy," and I was like, "Somebody's acknowledging that I had a baby boy."
Yes.
That it wasn't just about his death, it was about his life too.
Yes.
So I have that flattened out and folded up, and it's in his box of stuff, his treasure box that I call it, that we put some cards and things in there. Amazing experience. And then we also had to describe this to our two daughters who were waiting for him, because Ed had two daughters when we met, and they were waiting for this new baby. And they were
Oh,
about
wow.
6 and 7, I think, at the time, 5 or 6, something like that. And we had to explain to them, people are going to die. We're all going to do it. It's not bad. It's not an awful thing. People die when they're young, people die when they're old, people die because 'cause they're sick, people die because 'cause they're done. People die. We're
Right. It
all gonna
happens.
do
Life
it.
is
We're not
incestuous.
that bad, and if you believe in heaven or you wanna believe there's an afterlife, it's not bad at all. There's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah.
So, is it sad? Yes, you can still be sad because he's not here with us. There's no problem with that. And the problem is that if you think death is an awful thing. And so when I talk to people who are somewhat religious, I'm like, "Well, what do you believe happens after we die?" Then why are you sad? Why
Yes.
are you so sad and grief-stricken? Because if you're a believer, that's just great. Enjoy. That's why in funerals, they do the sad song on the way to the grave, and they do the happy song on the way out, away from the
Point.
grave.
Incredible. Wow, Tanya, all you've shared with us is really incredible and amazing. And you're so incredibly inspiring and resilient.
Oh, thank
And you're
you.
making a divine impact right now in your with what you're sharing in my interview with you right now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
incredible. And the blessings that we're going to bring to so many women who are going to watch this.
Yeah, it really is not your fault that bad things happen. Somebody gave us a book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. You might know this book.
I've
It
heard
was
that
written by
book.
a
Yeah, I've
rabbi.
heard of it.
And I just would read the cover and go, yep, like that was enough for me. I was like, yeah,
I
this is exactly right. Bad things happen to good people and move on, like
move
it's
on.
not that we're not acknowledging it. I want to make sure that you understand we did acknowledge and I did feel grief. It's just that
Or
I didn't live in it for eons, which I went to support groups and there are people that have been coming to that support group for years and years. And
yes.
I'm like, I said to Ed after we went, I said, I don't think I need to go there again because I know everything's okay. I know it wasn't my fault. I know that things just happen and we don't have
Right.
to assign blame. And I'm not going to, like somebody did, throw myself on his grave and cry in front of my other children. That was happening. I'm like,
Wow.
these are people who are stuck. I don't feel stuck. I can move through this. Was it sad? Absolutely. It was horribly sad. But when you've been sad for 2 weeks, you're like tired of it.
Oh yeah.
Like, we just like move on.
Yes. Then we just move
And we
on.
were laying around the house watching TV. We had a lot of magical things happen. And we were just watching TV, resting. And this commercial came on, and the woman said, there's nothing worse than a yeast infection. And we went, oh, thank God. Thank God we don't have that. And we were rolling on the floor laughing because it was just so silly. Like, oh, yeah, having a stillborn baby, that's not as bad as it used to.
Oh my goodness. That is so wild.
So, you have to find the funny where it shows up. We had a friend that came over to visit us that had terrible toothache pain. And we were like, oh, somebody needs us. Yay. We don't have to
Yay.
for
Because
people.
then you could be of
It's
service.
Yes, being of service. And, it's like they say, if you want somebody to help you, find the busy person, find the person that needs to be asked for help. I
Yes.
need you to help me. This is one of the things that people who are poverty stricken say. They miss being asked for help. Can you help me? And they're so ready to help because saying thank you over and over again can get to you when
It
you're
can. It
receiving,
can.
receiving, receiving, receiving.
Good point.
And to have everybody want to cry with you when they see you. And I had to go talk to my class because this happened when I was just finishing up chiropractic college.
Wow.
And there were people that were spreading rumors about what happened to us.
Oh my.
So I had to go into the class and say, I'm going to stop this right now. This is not anybody's fault. It doesn't, we're not assigning blame. The people we were working with have never lost a baby before. And I want you to go to the hospital and find out how many times it's happened there because we were having the baby at home with midwives. So people really were ready to jump on them. And I said, no, this is not what's happening. You cannot assign the blame to someone who is trying to help you and doing the best they can.
Exactly.
And by the way, what does that get anybody? Was I going to get money from them? I didn't need that.
No.
I didn't need to get money from them. I didn't need to blame. I didn't need to take anybody down. And, that being said, it's not important to me what the past was. It was important to me was how we moved forward.
Was such good.
So assigning blame and shame to people doesn't really help you move forward. It keeps you stuck. So acknowledging that you're sad, acknowledging that there's more at work here than what you can see. I mean, we're standing in the living room and we had a whole bank of windows. And at one point, I think it was like within 3 days, this blue balloon went floating horizontally past our windows. And I looked at Ed and I said, did you see that? He said, yeah. It wasn't floating up. It was floating across the windows.
Amazing.
We went outside to see if anybody was having a party. Nothing going on outside. It was just the weirdest thing. And we're like, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is my sign. It's okay. It's okay.
Exactly. Beautiful sign. Such a beautiful
Yeah.
sign. Wow, Tanya. So moving. And I wanted to share, Dylan is with us. He's been watching for quite a while.
Oh, great.
Hi, Dylan. And he's saying, feeling grief while not living in it for ages. Definitely needed to hear this, he says.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, there are people that will do that. They will make it their job. And I say, I know people who have had their children pass, and they're not sad people, but there are some that will stay that way. I've
Right.
never been the same since so and so died, because they are refusing to see what's good. What's the joy? And that's something where they're getting stuck. And usually it's because something happened in the past that caused them to believe that this has something to do with them, some blame. So usually what we're uncovering is some past experience that says you need to be um, shamed and blamed about this. So it's some other thing that has happened. So that's why I say this is a doorway for deeper healing. When
Yes.
somebody feels stuck in their grief, that's a problem, because you don't have to be. But it can
Absolutely.
point to other things that have happened in your life that you haven't dealt with. And this is how it comes out, as a symptom. So I talk to people a lot about what their symptoms are not the problem. Their symptoms are pointing to the problem.
Very wise.
Physical symptoms are pointing to a problem. They're
Yes.
not the problem. And you
Wow.
can treat physical symptoms all you want, but the root cause is how you feel, because your feelings are creating your physiology all the time.
Wow.
So paying attention to your feelings makes a lot more sense than not paying attention to your feelings.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we get ready in a little bit to wrap up our time together, Tanya, I would
Mhm.
love for you just to share a little bit about, the women that you support who have suffered pregnancy loss or stillbirth, like the healing that you bring to them. Can you just for a brief time to share about that? Because I feel you're an
Yeah.
incredible
A,
resource
a lot of
for these
times
women.
people don't, they come to me because they're ready to move something. They want to get unstuck. And they don't tell me until later, yeah, I had a stillbirth. It's really interesting. They don't always come up with that first.
Interesting.
They're hiding it from themselves,
Okay.
right? So some of the things that happen as a result of that is we're going back through situations that have happened in their life, and they don't have to tell me all these situations. We do a technique called bioenergetic synchronization technique, which has them think a thought, and then I find how to clear that pattern interrupt, so that we can interrupt the pattern that's created by that thought. Because thoughts aren't supposed to change your physiology. Feelings change your physiology. But when thoughts change your physiology, then we got a problem, and there's a belief in there that's running things. So what happens is we might uncover something that seems to be completely unrelated to the pregnancy loss or the stillbirth, and it happens a lot of the time to have to do with sexual abuse
Wow.
as a child. And I think it's something like 4 out of 5 girls and 3 out of 5 boys have some kind of sexual abuse happen to them. I might be inflating that number, but it kind of seems like it.
Wow.
And sure enough, that's what happened to me. I had sexual abuse that happened to me as a child, and didn't know what it was until much later, and went, oh, that's what that fear is that's been running me. Right. And then, whether you believe this or not, we try it on and see if it fits. We attract situations into our life to prove that we have this problem. So I was
Incredible.
just talking to somebody the other day, and I said, she says, I'm responsible for everything. And I said, but you're not responsible for everything. Why do you feel that way? And then we were looking at a picture of her when she was a child. I do a lot of work with people doing pictures of themselves as children. And she showed me this picture. I said, your eyes are crossed. She said, yeah, I had a lot of operations about that. And I said, oh, really? And you feel responsible for everybody? She said, yeah. I said, looking out for everybody? She said, yeah. I said, looking? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. light
Wow.
light dawns, and she's like, I've never dealt with this. And I said, we need to deal with this because if you had that going on throughout your childhood, you were different from everybody else. And that's not what kids want to be. They don't want to be different from everybody
So
else. They want to
true.
fit in. So here we are. Show me how I can be responsible. She's attracting things into her life so that she can prove how responsible she is. So attracting things into your life as a result of a wounding that happened is not the way we want to attract. We
No,
want
of course
we
not.
want to heal that wound, and now you get to attract into your life all the goodies, all the great things, all the blessings that are waiting for you so that you can, like, for lack of a better term, get over yourself so that you can, like, allow more source in,
Yes.
less of all this other stuff that you've been taught or that's been put on you, and let those blessings flow in.
Let the blessings flow in. Oh, so powerful, Tanya. Incredible. I just want to reflect back. Dylan's been he's with us and he's shared a few more things. I wanted to share about that and then
Yeah,
we'll wrap up our time together.
sure.
So powerful. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Mhm,
Dylan sharing what you were sharing a little earlier about miscarriage. And
mhm,
he said, my mother had a miscarriage of twins. That had
mm,
what had Oh, and had another pregnancy with twins. One was stillborn while the other one lived a few days. Wow.
mm.
She also has passed away. So thank you for sharing your message. He's saying, me and my mom definitely needed this.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a fault. Some people will look at these things happening to them and say, I'm being punished. This is a punishment. How can I deal with this? I'm being punished for something. You're not ever being punished. I don't believe in that. I believe that God is love, and love doesn't make you suffer. You
That's right.
make you suffer. You are the one that's doing it to you. So
Wow.
that's why I say, like, there's love in here, and I'm denying it because I'm holding myself hostage until I'm good enough, smart enough, thin enough, pretty enough, rich enough. No, no, no. Don't hold yourself hostage anymore.
No more.
You don't need to do that.
Exactly.
There's no reason for you to do that. This is a big healing moment for a lot of people when they hear that they've been holding themselves hostage until and unless you don't have to do that anymore. I give you permission. If you needed
Permission
it,
is
here it
granted.
is. You get
Powerful.
permission to move on with your life no matter what.
Yes, move on no matter what and make the divine impact that you're uniquely here to make and to be of service. Coming back to the
Absolutely.
theme of our show today. So
Yep,
powerful and my
yep.
shows. So Tanya, as we get ready to wrap up, I know you have a link for us and that's from your Quantum Healing International link, right? I'll pop that in our
Mhm.
comments here.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can get a hold of me. I'm all over the social media. I'm on LinkedIn. That's a great place to get a hold of me too, Alignable. You as I like to say, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting me on the internet
Oh my
somewhere.
goodness, that's a dramatic
Just
phrase.
don't
Oh
swing
my
dead
Zoom
cats,
got
okay?
funny right there.
It's just
Every
an
time my
expression.
Zoom gets really tight and it comes, my Zoom zoomed
Yeah.
in. I will zoom it back out. Oh my
Oh, it did.
goodness.
Oh,
Such
now
a
you're
blessing.
blacked out.
I'll be back in 1 second. It should come right. Oh my gosh, I went out and should come right back. So thank you so much, Tanya. I'm back.
There you go.
Thank
You're
you
so
so much,
welcome.
Tanya, for sharing with us today about how you make an incredible divine impact in the world and your incredible healing story. Really, stories. I mean, so beautiful, so powerful. Thank you also for
Yeah.
sharing your journey with us,
Thank you,
sharing
Rachel.
all that you did, and singing your
Yeah.
blues. It's been a joy to have you here with us. With here, Dylan's been with us, and we had Doreen in here earlier, Miranda also,
Thank
which is so
you.
beautiful.
Thank you
And
all.
oh yeah, thank you so much. And then yeah, so you can stay in touch with Tanya with her link there with Quantum Healing International. And we've been streaming also in our Angel Sisterhood, which is wonderful. So such a blessing. So dear ones, as we wrap up our time together today, I want to share, as I always share at the end of our shows, remember that you're not alone, that you are surrounded by the divine, by your angels, and they're always by your side, here to support you with your requests for help. They always come through and they're right there to support you. So thank you again, Tanya. Have a blessed and beautiful day, dear ones. And know that healing is here for you for your highest good. no matter what. And you can heal grief with grace, as Tanya has shared with us today. So beautiful and awesome. So thanks, Tanya. Angel
Thank
blessing.
you.
You're welcome.
Enjoy the day.
Enjoy the day, loves, and we'll see you next week for the next Divine Impact Show next Tuesday at noon Pacific. Take care and angel blessings.